I'm here today because I've overdosed on fentanyl at least 14 times, documented hospitalized 14 times, several other in people's homes, bathrooms, cars. I'm here to share my story of coming from waking up angry that I woke up and doing everything I could the whole day to make sure I didn't wake up the next one. And that was from my disease of addiction. So I like to share a message of not if I can do it, you can do it. It's real, there are people out there who came from nothing, the bottom, and clawed their way to the top. And the top looks different for everybody. And I that's a big part of my goal to share. I'm done. I've been doing it for over 10 years.
Both of my daughters, 23 and 26, have been in addiction for 11 years. And my oldest daughter, who's 26, this is her first time in recovery. It's been 8 months, but for 11 years, she was addicted to meth. And now my younger daughter, Chelsea, she's 23, and she's in recovery. And she was addicted to fentanyl and opioids for about 10 years. In and out of rehabs, arrested, all kinds of she overdosed 15 times. In the last 5, if I wasn't there, she would have died. Thank God I know CPR and always have Narcan on hand.
I have 2 memories out of all my overdoses. The first one, I was in a hotel bathroom by myself, and I had shot up in my foot. And so by the time I was done and sat back up, it was like this beautiful white, just like I was in a cloud. And then next thing I know, I was, flat on my back on the hotel bed, and I had like people giving me Narcan shots left and right, CPR.
When they pass out, nod out, and then their breathing is very shallow, you can't wake them up. You can shake them, you can scream, but they are not waking up. And then you just start to perform CPR and then give them that shot of Narcan. I'm dialing 911 when I'm starting CPR. And they usually get there within 3 to 4 minutes because the fire station isn't too far. And they've gotten to know Chelsea, and they all, wish her well. So they usually get there pretty quick to help save her.
The second and last memory of an overdose for me, I had an abortion about 2 months before I got pregnant with my son. And I was hospitalized for this overdose. And I remember hearing the nurses and hearing everything going on. But all I could see from what I understood where I was at was I was on a beach. And I was walking on a beach with a little girl I have naturally very curly spiral hair. And I was walking down the beach with a little baby girl who had these, beautiful dark brown curls. And it was my daughter. From what I took from it on my spiritual beliefs, that was my daughter kind of, which I don't know if if I was pregnant with a female, whenever I had the abortion, it's just a vision. It's just something that I saw, that I felt, that resonated with my soul, that it was, it's almost like the child I aborted knew that like it was okay for her to go, but it wasn't okay for me to go yet. So she made sure that I didn't. I use anything under the sun, but my favorites were opiates and heroin and downers, and then when I could get pure 100% pure fentanyl, that was it.
It actually started with being in high school, being bullied. Started out with mental health issues, depression, isolation.
I've been through some pretty traumatic events at very young ages that I never, of course at 5 years old, I'm not going to know how to process and cope with and deal with being molested by, you know, at 12, being sexually assaulted by an older man. At 15, one of my best friends overdosing and dying in my arms. At those ages, you don't know how to process that. You don't know what's going on. So my brain is naturally trying to bring back up those feelings and those, I want to heal. My subconscious needs me to heal. And it's extremely overwhelming and overstimulating, and it's to try and, even if I were to just focus on one single traumatic event, that's, you don't always have an answer. Just because you stop doing drugs, life doesn't get in. Life doesn't just stop being a bitch. Doesn't. You still have that, and then you have the shame and the regret and the remorse and the what ifs, and it can get to a point to where I've even thought to myself, well, I don't really even necessarily want to go get high. I just want to die and get it over with. Because if I'm 24 and I've been dealing with this since I was 11 years old, I'm fucking tired.
She's wrecked 4 vehicles. Her last accident, they called me at 3:30 in the morning and said that she did not survive and that I had to get to Memorial Hermann in the Med Center from Conroe. And it wasn't until I got about 10 minutes away when I called the emergency room to see where I needed to go to identify her or find her, the morgue. And the ER nurse said, she's here, she's alive. They did not give up on her in life flight. And also the first officer on the scene. He was a medic in the service. And he said that he just held her and prayed. And prayed. She was scalped from ear to ear. She lost her left ear. Shattered her jaw. Shattered her wrist. And both legs, from the knees to her toes, were shattered. She was in the hospital for 6 weeks, in a wheelchair for 3 months. And the problem with that was his pain medication. I had to give her something for the pain because it was so excruciating. And then when they cut her off after leaving the hospital, she's already back in her addiction, and she's still in so much pain that she started to get off the streets. And then she made up her mind to stop.
I've been to rehab twice. Both graduated successfully, went in voluntarily. There's a program based out of Houston, which is the heroin emergency response opioid epidemic services heroes group. I have a free counselor, free group with them, free group every Thursday, a one-on-one with my counselor every other week. They got me hooked up with a doctor to treat my opiate use disorder. And it's all free, all voluntary. They all, they hooked me up with a legal team that does everything pro bono for people in recovery. And I have a home NA group that I go to. I'm very close with everyone there. I mean, not everyone, but, we're a family. I've been going there for so long, and it's very rare, it's always the old timers, You don't see many 23-year-olds that are like, oh, I can't wait to go to NA tonight. But that's genuinely how I feel. Especially like on Saturdays, we play volleyball after our 6:00 meeting. And it's just, in the times where life happens, and as someone who myself who has the disease of addiction, I naturally will think and tell myself, I don't know how I could never get through that sober. I could never, how? And I know that I'm surrounding myself with people who will not only show me how to get through it sober, but will hold my hand. I know the people who I'm closest with who are in recovery. I know that, I could call them and tell them, they are the true definition of, the no matter what club is what we call it. We don't use no matter what. No matter what you do, we won't judge you. No matter what, keep coming back. So, shame or embarrassment and stuff like that, that's never been an issue with with the people who I've got close to while, being my sober, true self.
Addiction is a disease. I don't care what anybody says, but it is medically proven that it is a disease, and those cravings, just like anything else, smoking or drinking, it's like your body has to have it, and it just starts up again from there. Don't think it's not going to happen to your child, to your brother, to your sister, aunts, uncles, parents. You can buy this drug on the internet. You can get it off of Snapchat. They can order it from China, and China will ship the pills to a P.O. box. The law enforcement, they don't have the manpower to keep up with what's coming across the border, our open border, and even on the streets. So we as a community need to help them. If you see something, say something. 2 kids in the Woodlands a year ago smoked a joint. It had fentanyl in it. They both died. The mom found them in the girl's bedroom. It's in everything. Coke, meth, marijuana. They're putting it in everything.
Yeah, I haven't been doing okay. I haven't been using. I haven't been out on the streets. I haven't been neglecting my son. But sometimes that's all I can think. That'll never stop. But it's, I'm not okay. I know today I'm better than who I was yesterday.